this is my director's commentary for Life Lessons, of which is the prequel to Season 1 of Lego Spider-Man Tangled Web. So, this intro, um, I can't remember where I first saw something like this, but I saw like a film or something that had this and had like, so basically this, but like sounds,
We're not gonna wait here
sirens.
all night, pal. Be smart and cooperate.
Pigs are everywhere.
The only way out is through the front door. If we have to charge in there, it won't be pretty.
Take you with me if I have to. Pieces of garbage. Gonna get out of here one way or another.
That's
So
exactly what I
I
was hoping to
tried
hear.
to um
Murderer!
match the shots from the original comic as much as I could.
Down!
I must be seeing things. I must be out of my. Ah!
Maybe he popped himself.
I don't think I did
What is this?
it
What's going on?
that
I
close
gotta
with
hide.
all of them.
I gotta.
Mister, there is nowhere on earth you will be able to hide from me.
You can't. You can't.
Yeah, well, you should have thought of that before you. That face. It can't be.
Oi, why didn't you stop him?
Not my job.
But I'm very happy with how this
Stick your foot out and he's kissing the pavement.
this whole film ended up because I wanted to do a
He
Spider-Man
hasn't come
related
out of the back
project
either, Captain Stacy.
You're
Um,
full.
at some point
Should we
for
go
college.
swap?
So obviously this was a college project. But I didn't really know what. So because originally, I'll go over it in a minute. But yeah, there are some
Seeing
differences in this
things. I'm
version
seeing things. What's going
to
on?
the
I'm
original
seeing things.
comic book
I'm
version.
seeing things.
Like if you look at a couple of shots, like when Dennis, which is the name of the guy who killed Uncle Ben, when he is dangling in the original version, he's been lifted up by a rope. But in this version, I added the web whip noise, um, the Spider-Man web sound effect, because I wanted to sort of obviously differentiate it from the comic, because this is actually connected to a series I'm going to do at some point, which isn't Ultimate Spider-Man. But I thought it would be interesting to have it be the web. I mean, it's not really, it doesn't really affect the story at all. And yeah. But but the thing that I would definitely change with this is obviously, I think the voice acting and all the characters that talk was good, really good. I thought it was great. Obviously, I'm not talking about my performance. Everyone else's thought did really good job. The only thing I would change, well, in terms of the voice acting, is Captain Stacy, who in the original version in the comic spoke, but in this he doesn't. He doesn't speak at all, and don't get me wrong, I don't think it doesn't work. Like if that makes sense, where I think it does work. Like, because obviously Uncle Ben doesn't talk, and in the obviously a lot of this was really also inspired by the Sam Raimi version of this in Spider-Man 1, where the flashback to Uncle Ben being shot is in black and white, and there's a lot of fade cuts and transitions. Uncle Ben doesn't talk in that scene either, so it works here because of that. But in the original, Uncle Ben does say one line of dialogue about how that Dennis has more money than Ben. But in but I think that last line where Dennis says that he's muttering about how he's seeing things in the original version, Captain Stacy actually asks him, "What did you see?" And that's literally all he says in the whole thing, or just something like that. No, but yeah, and some of the shots could have been a little bit closer to the original. Like sometimes, it was a bit difficult to do it. But I tried to get it as close as possible. But it's not all exactly the same. Obviously, if you look at the original, Spider-Man's costume in that is completely different to what it is in this. So in this, he's wearing like a blue hoodie with the Spider-Man symbol on the front and the back, and red gloves and red boots and his normal mask, which obviously looks to a lot resembles more of the like Scarlet Spider, but obviously I think a lot of people would know it more as the homemade suit from Spider-Man: Homecoming. I did that because this is supposed to be very early on in Spider-Man's career, like literally before he even calls himself Spider-Man, and and in most versions of this moment, he doesn't have the full costume yet. And in the comic that this is adapting, he does have his costume, but he doesn't have the webs or the spider logo on it. And I thought, because obviously this is supposed to be exactly the same, just an adaptation, having him in a more MCU homemade / Scarlet Spider look would give it its own thing. But in when the actual episodes come out, he'll be in his normal Spider-Man costume. But yeah, but overall, and also the music actually. Before I finish, I thought was really good. I'm actually really happy with the music. Not all of it works, I don't think actually. And when I say not all of it, I mean like one bit of music towards the end. Don't think fit it, but it was the Ultimate Spider-Man video game soundtrack, which is a great game if you ever played it. And I wanted to use. I mean, I could have just used royalty-free music, but I just thought that using the Ultimate Spider-Man game soundtrack for a short film that adapts a pretty key moment from the Ultimate Spider-Man comic would make sense. And I think it fit, except for that one little bit. But probably only me that thinks that. But I think, but overall, I think this film works really well, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And obviously, one of the reasons why I did it because this year is the 60th anniversary of Spider-Man. Yeah, I just remembered that I was going to talk about the history behind this, the Spider-Man Tangled web, and it's not a very long thing. I'm not going to go into it too much. Basically, a couple of years ago, when I was finishing, I think level 3 of college, I had to, for the final major project. I think it could have been anything we wanted. I wanted to do a Spider-Man fan short film, and I was going to call it Spider-Man Tangled Web, and I made that logo that you saw at the beginning on Photoshop at college, using the mask at college. And originally it was going to be live action. It was going to be very short, and it wasn't going to be much to it, and it wasn't going to have like a full costume. It was going to be whoever played him wear like a blue hood, basically what he wore in this. Then it was going to be 2D animated, and I actually got a load of the like dialogue recorded for that, and I even did like an intro for it when it was going to be 2D. But then, of course, COVID hit, and lockdown ruined all of that, and the FMP Final Major project for that thing basically got cancelled, and I never got to finish that. But I'm still going to release that, but as a Lego brick film, which will be connected in. And but also for this project specific, I was actually really looking forward to doing it, and I even came up with a load of ideas. And all these ideas I'm still going to do, but as personal projects. But originally, I was going to do a adaptation of. This is before I found out that it was just a couple of like pages of the comic, but I was going to adapt the first issue of Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, which is obviously a very famous Batman story. I was going to do it all in Lego. I was going to do all the first issue where I mean, if you haven't read it, I haven't read all of it, but it's really good. The Batman, where Bruce is retired, but then he comes back, and it's really good. And then it was going to be adapting an issue of Scooby-Doo Team Up, where again a Batman related thing, where it was the second one where I think the issue is called Who's Scared, but I was going to rename it the Canine Crusaders, where cut story short, Scooby and one of Batman's sidekicks, Ace the Bat Hound, team up to take down the Scarecrow. That was going to be. I even bought like a Scarecrow minifigure and like a Ace the Bat Hound figure, but that never went anywhere. But I'm still going to do that at some point. And then it was going to be like a Lego Scooby Doo adaptation of the Coraline graphic novel. But that obviously, but then when I found out that it was just a couple of pages, I thought because it's Spider-Man's 60th anniversary in 2022, why not do a Spider-Man related project? But yeah, I'm really happy with it. Only a couple of things I would change. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out.